Hey everybody, it's Patrick Smith again here at the West Virginia Game Developer Expo 2018, and I'm with our Saturday keynote speaker, Brad Kalinoski with Crafty Apes. How's it going, Brad?
Good, excellent.
So you gave an amazing keynote speech today, and I want to kind of talk about some highlights. Some things in your history you mentioned. You didn't have a straight trajectory. You talked about going into the medical field, deciding that wasn't what you wanted to do.
Right.
Even trying to go into the VFX field didn't always work out. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, well,
I guess what I'm saying is like it wasn't one of those things where when people see this and they go, I can never get in that field. I'm sure he's way ahead. There'd always be issues. You talked about taking a job, driving there, and then finding out, oh, we already gave that job away.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just persistence and just having the drive to say that I'm not going to let anything beat me. Basically, regardless of where you live. Like just living here, I think in Huntington could be a little bit of a
a slight disadvantage.
Slight disadvantage,
especially for networking.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think you should ever think of it that way. Just think of it as if you can do anything you want to do. It's really up to you as an individual to create your own path. And basically, if I hadn't just pursued on doing what my dream job or my dream career was, then I'd still be working at the hospital, which is not a bad thing, trust me, but it's just not, it wasn't my career path that I wanted.
Your heart wasn't in the medical field.
Exactly. Yeah,
well, I know.
Literally.
Last year, our keynote speaker, Justin McElroy, he brought up a point at one point where he said, if a game developer, if you were a student who wanted to get in the game field, and if you moved to San Francisco, the amount of runway you have to make it out there was going to be very, very short because of how much you were paying. But if you were here in Huntington, you had a much longer runway. I thought something that you mentioned was very interesting that I think could kind of like be useful with the information he said, which is it's okay to go somewhere and learn that craft and then come back.
Yeah.
You can make a name for yourself and then come back here and then still be sought out in the industry, or at least move closer to home.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is I think it works in a lot of ways. If you leave Huntington and go somewhere else, or leave whatever hometown you're in and it's small and you're not living in a major metropolitan area, then, a major city like San Francisco, Los Angeles, or New York, then I think that you kind of don't get the actual experience and information, and when I say experience, I mean experience from all broads, like how much it costs to, because you always have to kind of figure out your budgets, and how to work with those budgets. And sometimes when you live in a more expensive area, such as San Francisco or Los Angeles, when you come back here, you're like, okay, this is what I can do, and this is how I can do it with this much, and then this is what I need, this is what it's going to cost me, and there's a lot of advantages of moving away from your hometown, and one is just that, is like putting yourself out there in a realm of where it's not uncomfortable, where you're typically it's not your, what do you say,
well, I would say like most things. When you got into the industry, there were things that people asked you to do that you were like, I don't know how to do that, but I will figure it out. And
exactly.
So that was an uncomfortable situation for you to be in because you did not know exactly how to do it. So I think you're saying like putting yourself out in an uncomfortable situation, getting used to that adversity will help you.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that's the exact way I should have put it. But the thing about it is you got to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. And I don't mean sleeping on the couch for somebody, not a casting couch kind of situation, but put yourself into position and uncomfortable situations, and that are actually going to, what's the word, push you, to strive to do more and strive to actually, because I think if you put yourself in where you have to pay, your expenses go from, say, $400 a month for your rent, and then you put yourself into a position where you have to pay $1,250 a month for rent, then that pushes you not to only, do kind of pushes you to do better, to do more. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's coming out right.
You have a lot more on the line,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you're either going to make it or break it
Yeah,
at
exactly.
that point, and you're going to be able to test your metal.
Exactly, and it's a good way to test yourself because seriously, I mean, I was really like scared to death, and if it hadn't been for my wife who went to MIT, and she was used to Boston, living in New York, living in San Francisco and Los Angeles, so she knew what was coming up, and what it was. I didn't, so but the whole time I felt that pressure to pay the bills and to and go in out of my comfort zone. That really drove me to do what I'm doing and to learn more and to be more and to start getting out there and talking to people and communicating and building up all these contacts.
Is there any? I mean, you kind of gave some advice during that, but is there any succinct advice you would give to somebody who wants to break into this area? And I'm willing to bet, as most people have told me, is just start doing it. So even Shayna Moon said the other day in her keynote that so many people say, I want to get in the gaming industry, and then she goes, oh, well, what have you worked on? They go, well, I haven't worked on anything yet, but I want to. And it's no time like the present, I figure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was 31 years old when I changed my career, so I don't think it's ever too late to change your career. I don't think it's ever too late to get into what you want to do, regardless of your age. But I think that if you're really passionate about it and you really want to do it, then do it. I mean, anything you want to do, you can do. I don't care if you're a plumber. It's you learn if it doesn't matter what field it is. It's just if you want to do this, read up. There's more than enough information on the internet now. More than enough schools like this one to get the information, to take the classes, and prepare yourself for this type of career if you want to do it.
And make sure you build a portfolio.
And build a really good portfolio based on your individual kind of ideas, regardless of how bad you think they are. You're your own worst critic. So I mean, what you should do is show everything, your best stuff only, actually, not everything, but just what you think is the best stuff, regardless of whether you hate it or not, and then show that portfolio to other people, because not everyone thinks the same thing. I mean, and your stuff might be really, really good, and you think it's not, but it actually is.
But it would also show a voice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what we look for in this industry, regardless of what it is, games or movies and television, is a voice. I mean, you showed that you have what we always say. We're always looking for a diamond in the rough, and if you can show that specific work that you're passionate about, and that you have an idea in your head about this one particular thing, then. And you show that on your work or on your portfolio, then and it's really good and it stands out, then that's what we're going to look for, But if you're trying to take what's already been done, or you're trying to recreate something that's already been done, or it's a tutorial, then you're going to get passed on more than likely.
It doesn't really show what you've done.
Exactly.
You were able to follow step 1 through 10, but where's your flair that you added?
Yeah, exactly. Anybody can paint by numbers,
Well, when someone's doing a movie or a show, they're not coming to you and saying, hey, that thing they did 5 years ago?
Yeah.
We want you to do that exactly. They could already pay some money. They're making you all do the impossible. And you got to think outside the box.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of reboots, so no, I'm kidding.
Well, I know there are a lot of reboots. I understand. That's the same story, but the visual effects, you all haven't always pushed that. So in this case, you need to be able to push it and show that you can go further than steps 1 through 15 in a tutorial.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is like you gotta be you gotta be overly creative, because you got to show that you not only can do what is being done right now, but you also can see in the future, and you say, okay, well, you know what, we can take Unreal Engine and we can use this for this, or this can apply to this. It's you just got to have an open mind and always be creative and always be willing to basically open your mouth and say, hey, I have this idea, without being fearful that you're going to be that someone's going to say, no, that's a terrible idea. Even if they do, who gives a shit? I mean, they always, you're always going to be critiqued. In this industry, there's always somebody who's going to say no, or that's terrible, you're crazy, that's horrible. Believe me, trust me. And then there's a lot of people that go, that's a great idea. Let's try that out. Or I see where you're going with it. Let's look into it further. And that's one thing about this industry is you got to learn that, when you're critiqued and when people really critique your work, regardless of whether you're trying for a job or you're already in the industry, you just got to accept it. It's just part of it. Not everybody's going to love everything that you do. So,
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
taking time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our keynote speaker.
Yeah, and I hope I can do it again sometime.
Yeah, we'd love it. Thanks.
All right, thank you.